Chicago Mayor, let's go Brandon Johnson. He is looking at spending several $1 billion of Chicago taxpayers' money to buy back parking meters. Opponents of this plan say that City of Chicago can't afford it. Number one, it's going to downgrade their credit risk. What's going to happen? Let's get into it. Here we go.
Be getting new life inside City Hall. Sources telling ABC7 that the mayor's office is considering an attempt to buy back the city's parking meters. Rights to the meters were sold in 2008 for more than $1 billion. It is believed revenue since then is more than double that price. Ownership of the meters is now back up for sale, and it could cost whoever buys them billions. We're told the mayor's plan could be unveiled sometime next week. Tonight, we reached out to the mayor's office and a spokesperson telling us they have no comment. Alderman Pat Dowell, who serves as chair of the city's council finance committee, is criticizing the move. She says in part tonight, this will only cost Chicago taxpayers more money, which we can't afford, and will potentially lead to another credit downgrade.
I have to be brutally transparent with you. I want to see this purchase happen because I want the podcasts. Can you imagine anything that Let's Go Brandon Johnson plans, anything that he executes, anything that he thinks is a good idea, typically is a no-go zone because it doesn't make any sense. Because Let's Go Brandon Johnson, along with a whole bunch of other mayors in big blue Democrat-run cities, they make decisions that aren't based upon reality, right? The income streams on these parking meters, it is a convoluted back and forth. Give you an example. We've got setting the record straight on Chicago parking meter privatization. I mean, it's just understanding the parking meter concession. You've got a handful of interests in there. You've got parking meter terms. You've got this amount of money going here. You've got this amount of money going there. You've got $400 million placed into a long-term reserve revenue replacement fund, $325 million being used for midterm budget relief, $320 million placed in a budget stabilization fund, $100 million placed, and this other entity gets the income stream, but you let the city make the decision on amount of parking fines, tickets, that kind of thing. And then another company is going to come in and, manage all this, manage the physical structure of the parking stuff. And you're just left with, this is a convoluted deal. This is a convoluted deal, and it doesn't necessarily make sense. And whatever the asking price is now, which is, if you got double the revenue now that you had back then, and it was $1.1 billion back then, it's going to be way more. It's going to be way more. And that, everything's about $1 billion now, right? How much is it? $1 billion, $2 billion. Who's counting? Used to be $1 million was a big number. Now it's in the billions. We got Morgan Stanley involved with the $1.157 billion bid. There's just all kinds of stuff going on. So when you have that kind of situation, and you've got literally Brandon Johnson, you've got Brandon Johnson at the helm. I mean, to me, it's Chicago, buy these. I want to see what happens. I'm curious. Encourage Brandon Johnson, Let's Go Brandon Johnson to make this happen. I think it's a critical step in Chicago's future. Not a positive one, but a step. That's all I'm saying due to transparency, right? And this could be exciting. We could see what an actual $1 billion in real time, just cluster, what happened. Just right in front of us. Let's see how this goes. Buying back parking meters. This guy doesn't know anything about anything. I mean, honestly, couldn't work his way out of a wet paper bag. Controversial piece of Chicago government history may be getting new life inside City Hall. I hope not. And yet, at the same time, fingers crossed. Chicago, make this happen. Make this happen. Let's Go Brandon Johnson's considering an attempt to buy back the city's parking meters because it's run everything else so well that the parking meters, why not? Easy extension of that, right? How much should we raise taxes on some poor folks in Chicago this year? How much? 100% in a bunch of different neighborhoods cases, west side and south side? 100% plus? That's amazing. Ownership of the meters is now back up for sale, and it could cost whoever buys them billions. ABC reached out to the mayor's office, and a spokesperson said Friday night they have no comment. Mum's the word, no comment. Alderman Pat Dowell, that's what we heard, who serves as chair of the City Finance Committee, is criticizing the move. Wonder why. Wonder why that is happening. She said, in part, this will only cost Chicago taxpayers more money, which we can't afford, potentially lead to another credit downgrade. If this was a huge moneymaker, do you think somebody'd be selling it? Somebody wants to get out of having to deal with all the just insanity that goes along with having thousands of parking meters in Chicago. You know, when somebody beats on a parking meter remember when they used to beat on parking meters to try and get the dimes out? There were always dimes, I think, weren't they? Maybe quarters? I can barely remember that. I think that was in high school. And then we went to debit cards sometime in college, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s. I think we went to some kind of swipe system. But people would take a hammer and break open the parking meters to get the change out. That's what all the bums, that's what all the winos, that's what they would do, right? But back then we had laws and people would get arrested and they'd actually get incarcerated. Instead, we have justice reform to thank for just basically nobody going to jail for anything. And we call that's a good deal. Oh, the transparency on this one is so effective. And you're just left with, well, that's a broken parking meter. That one's never going to be replaced. You know, and some poor business has got to respond to all that. And this parking meter deal, it's got a lease life left of 57 years. So you're going to have to cash that out as well. You're going to have to, do something there as well. It's going to be exciting times. Don't forget, this comes on the heels of kind of a critical piece of the new budget, which is Chicago has increased their cloud tax from 11% to 14%, and maybe even a little bit higher than that. I've read 15 elsewhere. What that effectively does is it tells Microsoft, Salesforce, ChatGPT, Amazon Web Services, and Zoom would all come with higher prices under Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's cloud tax. So anything computing-wise that works on this platform that's eligible to be taxed, they're going to look at this taxation and go, no. So business is being driven from Illinois, from Chicago. It's literally just being pushed out because of terrible, terrible policy. So when you have politicians that choose to enact this kind of policy that actually pushes out business because they're so desperate for, money to be rolling in from taxation, and they've already taxed the constituents, to the tippy top. When that happens, these are not the types of entities, these are not the types of politicians that you want out there purchasing a couple $1 billion worth of parking meters. Hey, I've got some slightly used parking meters for you in Chicago. Want to buy some? It's kind of like California Energy Commission was tasked by Gavin Newsom to try and find a buyer for the Valero Benicia refinery. Hey, anybody want a pretty good deal on a slightly used refinery in California? We've got one for sale. We'd like you to become involved. Full transparency. Needs a little bit of work. And you know what? We are the state of California, so we are about as anti-big oil as anybody out there, but I think you should still buy this refinery, right? It's kind of like, let's go Brandon Johnson. If he sees a shiny object, he might just want to buy it. I say we let him. Honestly, I say we let him. Nothing would make me happier in 2026. Let Brandon Johnson, let him just have his way with this idea. And let's see what a couple of $1 billion of parking meters does. Unfortunately, by the time the truth comes out on how the income streams and all this would go, let's go Brandon Johnson. He will be, sitting there at his next job, whatever that is, with his pointy hair, and he'll kind of have that half confused look on his face, and where he kind of goes like this. And you're like, does that man have any thoughts going on there? Are there any synapses firing? Because It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. And that's the look that a dude who's considering buying several $billion worth of parking meters gives. Yeah. Let's make this happen, folks. Chicago, you guys need to make this happen. As this proposal comes out, let's make it happen. We'll just see where it goes. What could go wrong? Podcast for days, weeks, months, years. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again for being here. Bye for now.